Well, it has been a very emotional month as we reflect on a year since 5/14.
And so we're going to continue that theme of hope and healing on Community. I'm Claudine Ewing.
And I'm Pete Gallivan. We are here this month at the Frank Meriwether Jr. Library, where some of the community's youngest members are reflecting on what happened a year ago. Buffalo Strong, all one.
These are the students from School 82, and their words really say it all. We will always remember the Buffalo 10. Peace begins in pre-K. This is part of a project that they did with the Xi Epsilon chapter for the AKA here in Buffalo, and we want you to check out some of the mementos of those we lost.
Precious mementos: Deacon Hayward Patterson's suit, Aaron Salter Jr.'s car, and Ruth Whitfield.
We were supposed to go see the Temptations play that night. And I have the tickets.
The ticket. Never used for the Buffalo performance at Shays, but the family was invited to see it in Detroit, and there was a special dedication to Ruth, her daughter's hope for a better tomorrow.
And we're not going back. We are not going back.
What would your mother be telling you right now about having hope and trying to heal?
Well, she believed in God.
Right.
And so first off, she'd say, pray about it. But she was also an activist before her time.
At St. Brian Clothiers,
this is a place where the legacy of a man's character and his clothes lives forever.
Patterson's suit.
Almost every photo that you see of him, he's in the three-piece. This shoe hasn't even been worn, right? And this is what breaks your heart the most.
Patterson was a dad.
This is his youngest son. This is his only son who would carry on his name.
His suit, cufflinks, will remain on display.
A memento to a man who left a legacy. The suit is, we're all in pursuit of something, right? And, and so we want to be in pursuit of healing.
And retired Lieutenant Aaron Salter Jr. He died while saving others.
I was always able to tell him how much I loved and appreciated him and how proud I was of him.
His sister keeps her last text message from him dated May 10th. It was about her late husband.
I heard his voice and saw his face clear as day. Wow, have a good day at work. I miss the little things.
Even stopping at Tops to chit-chat with her brother. She recently traveled to Israel. It's part of her healing from losing her only sibling.
I would always keep in constant contact with him. I would always send him pictures.
This photo of her getting baptized in the Jordan River, emotional for her knowing that this photo he won't see. A brother and sister with deep roots to Tops Supermarket. Their mother worked at Tops in the Central Park Plaza.
I was the cashier. Aaron worked in stock.
And in retirement, he returned.
And he had a passion for that particular Tops on Jefferson. He was always concerned about the people that lived there, the people that shopped there.
But photos are special, like all those of him in classic cars that he loved.
From the hours and days after the horror of 5/14 to now, Thurman and Patty Thomas say many of the emotions remain the same.
You know, I'm sad still, but I'm still angry.
Anger that the Bills Hall of Famer says he tries to channel positively as he and his wife try to lead a movement of sustainable and lasting change.
You say sustainable, I say yeah, sustainable, but also really wide and broad. It can't just be one part of the community wanting better.
Both say they've tried to lead in this way, moving to the city of Buffalo as part of it. Both point to the rebuilt Tops Market and improved housing, but both say much more needs to be done. Better transportation, easier access to medical and other resources, and above all else, communication.
You don't even realize all of the commonalities and the things that you agree on because people just don't communicate. They don't have conversations with each other and get on a level playing field for change.
I want to see people from Orchard Park. I want to see people from East Aurora, from Williamsville, Amherst. I want to see those people out there because you know what? When something happens in East Aurora, Orchard Park, I'm out there.
But saying that, both community, we need to start coming together for things.
I'm just as passionate about, this right here as I was playing for 12 years here. People look at me like, hey, how you doing? Thanks for doing so much in the community. And I'm like, you're welcome, but I'm not done yet. So that's part of my healing, and I think that part really gives me hope that this can turn around.
Roberta Drury.
She was a beautiful girl.
Hayward Patterson.
He will grow up fatherless.
Zaire Goodman.
My son, who loves everybody, he just loves people. He was at work minding his business.
Pearl Young.
And then for this person, to come in and just invade a community and just very personally snatch her life away when she would have given to him.
Ruth Whitfield.
Well, I don't give a damn about people's feelings anymore because you need to be uncomfortable. Because I've been uncomfortable my whole life. My whole life I've been treated differently because of the color of my skin.
Celestine Cheney.
We will never have another birthday, another get-together, another celebration, me and her shopping, another call.
Aaron Salter Jr.
I know how he loved others, how he loved his family.
Jennifer Warrington.
I roared in pain for my sister, my beautiful sister, pharmacist who was serving in the East Side. I never knew if I would see her again.
Christopher Braden.
The scars are a constant reminder of what happened to me, but don't define my future.
Andre McNeil.
My father, Andre McNeil Sr., his name will live on until the day I die.
Marcus Morrison.
Somebody actually took their life because of the color of his skin.
Catherine Massey.
We love each other, we stick together, we're there for each other. It's just different because Kat ain't there.
Geraldine Talley.
What'd make me happy is if America acknowledges its racist history and the racism currently going on now.
commUNITY. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to commUNITY.
Appropriately, we've been reflecting a lot on the 10 lives that were lost, but there were so many more victims than just those 10.
3 people were injured, but so many people scarred, including TOPS workers. Here's Heather Lee.
We are honestly broken people at the moment. We're still broken. I'm okay with admitting that because that was a hard thing for me to accept. Broken. But I'm not dead. I survived. So there's something that I'm supposed to do.
How have you found healing over the past year?
Many different ways. So I'm in therapy. That's a start. I'm a musical artist. I write songs, poems. I'm a mom. Just spending time with my kids, knowing that they almost didn't have a mother, that helps to see them. We had a little separation anxiety going on, so just working with them on that, listening to them. I'm a helper, I'm a giver, so helping other people with whatever they're going through helps me. Talking about it, doing this, and just trying to find some way to acknowledge that I'm not the same person.
Which that has to be difficult.
That was the hardest part. That was the hardest part. So I still don't know who I am exactly anymore, but.
It's still hard to believe it's been a year. It's still hard to
process that. You know, I just had counseling today and we were talking about it, and I hate the word anniversary because it's not an anniversary. Anniversaries are something that's happy, something that was happy in your life. This isn't an anniversary, this is a remembrance. This is a time for us to reflect on the 10 beautiful lives that we lost. It's a time to reflect on those that were injured. This is something we have to learn how to live with and learn how to have our new normal.
How do you navigate that new normal, and what helps you heal today?
Thanking God that we didn't lose more people. Thanking God that I was spared. I could have easily have been shot. Knowing that I have the love and support of my family and my friends and my family down at Jefferson.
In July, Art for Healing connected 6th through 11th graders with local artists, and through painting and sketching, students were able to process some of their pain. Michelle Augusto, Director of Arts for Buffalo Public Schools, came up with the idea.
If you give them a platform, a canvas, to draw whatever it is that they're thinking, whatever they want to express, it allows them to heal, it allows them to communicate their thoughts with one another.
This school year, Michelle has continued giving the students time and space to express their feelings. We caught up with her at the Central Library at the Heal, Heart, Hear Buffalo mural, created by a group of students to respond directly to the events of May 14th.
And they wanted to show the vibrancy of the city and using color to show happiness and joy. They wanted to make sure it was centered in joy.
They also collaborated with the organizers of the Juneteenth Festival, and that community connection is important to the students and teachers.
I think the power of seeing young people create very raw things, they're raw emotions, and this still carries over. If you talk to people today, it's very raw still. And you can see that rawness and them being able to, it's courage, being able to kind of put that out there for others to witness. You know, it gives other people courage, it gives other people a sense of admiration for what they can do. It takes a lot for children to be that honest with others, to trust how they feel with others, and that's what this is.
The art projects have expanded beyond Buffalo schools, with other districts sharing their art online.
So that we could have a collection to show that the whole, area, Niagara County, Erie County, we're all united in Western New York against the message of the shooter that day, that we are all united and together. And here's these wonderful children from all over that have these positive thoughts and these wonderful words of love that they needed to see. I felt the community needed to see that.
Another way many have started the healing process is through healing circles. Last August, we shared a story about virtual healing circle support groups known as Sayubona, offered by the New York State Office of Mental Health to help people experiencing elevated grief, anxiety, and trauma. I also caught up with Matthew Knutson, the Chief Diversity Officer at the Office of Mental Health, to learn about the impact this has had on people.
Especially because of the nature of the tragedy, it was definitely going to be very important that people felt like that they could be extra safe. And I mean, the fact that the healing circles are by trained individuals, they're not clinical, but that they're delivered by trained individuals who are also Black, that makes a important difference. So that was part of what made it a little bit easier for people to be involved. The other thing is that it was virtual, obviously. So that really, allows people to overcome other barriers that might exist.
No matter what form healing takes, it's important and empowering.
It gives them a sense of being able to say exactly how they feel, and doing it in a safe, positive way that may connect to other kids and other people, other adults. And there's a lot of power in that. And I think that's something that I hope that we did with this project and the other projects that we did during the year.
When tragedy struck, Dr. Sylvia Lloyd did what she does best. She turned to the pen.
514 caused me to go inward
and to reflect, to conduct research, and to write.
To write about everything from pain to frustration, hate to healing. But she was also writing with a purpose.
And I'm an educator, so it actually caused me to write a social justice curriculum for the next generation. Because I wondered, how can we stop this copycat syndrome?
She's from Buffalo, not far from the Jefferson Avenue tops. But she knew she needed to do something to help her community and communities like it across the country.
We want our children to heal from this because we don't want them to continue to hurt. Hurt people, but heal people.
Sylvia became the first black supervisor of libraries for the Buffalo Public Schools in 2005. 2 years later, the first black director of the school library system in Rochester. She now writes, lectures, and develops curricula for marginalized communities. And as this third-generation educator walks with me near Johnny B. Wiley Stadium, where so much help was handed out in the days and weeks following 5/14, she's reminded of her grandmother, a pillar of the Fruit Belt, whose activism helped break down racial barriers in the Buffalo Public Schools in the 1960s.
The community felt it was not heard, it was not seen, it was not valued, and things were very different. There was the civil rights movement was going on, and there was actually protests and boycotts in the schools. So my grandmother, Mrs. Elizabeth Burgos, actually partook in a boycott where teachers were hitting students. It was legal. Corporal punishment was legal, and the parents wanted to change that to make schools better for children. So she was a school counselor in the schools, and she encouraged me to go into education. So I feel like I need to give back to the community.
And carry on her legacy.
Yes, absolutely.
A legacy of education and activism. How much does it mean for you personally to be able to take a tragedy and turn it into a teaching moment?
That's everything. That is the ultimate goal.
And it's a goal that can benefit everybody.
How can they make Buffalo a better place? How can they make their community a better place? And ultimately this country a better place.
When I heard about that tragic incident, I lean upon my faith always, particularly when it comes to the loss of 10 innocent lives.
This was targeted. So how do you, in your position, how do you help this state when it comes to that?
So, as you know, we immediately upon, after the burials of all the individuals, we came back to our office and we wanted to respond to the shooting and wanted to let people know that that individual was radicalized on social media. And it's important that we hold these online platforms responsible for their content. And so, as you know, this young man was on 4chan, he was on Discord, he was on 8KUN, and he was radicalized on the social media platforms. It's been a breeding ground for white supremacy and for those who want to hate people who might be different. And so we passed some legislation, one that would hold these companies liable, that would provide more transparency, that would create civil and criminal liability for those who basically reshare these videos of homicide. And we are at a time in this country where we are more divided than ever, a country at war with itself. And what we need to do is bring people together, and government needs to respond. What we've got to do is pray for hope, be inspired, and know that prayer works. And instead of offering our prayers and our thoughts with all of those who lost loved ones, once we get off of our knees after praying, we've got to go to work.
Coming up on Community, a roundtable discussion.
There are so many things to talk about, from the historic relevance to just the issue of hate and racism. We have a very frank discussion with some of this community's spiritual leaders.
What are your hopes, and how do we continue to heal?
Part of the healing is in the remembrance. I think back to the Holocaust and how the Jews have never stopped remembering, and not just stopped remembering, but have put action into how do we change things.
Our hope is grounded in our faith, but I think our hope is also in each other. I think one of the great stories that came out of 514 was the resilience of the community.
What if we learned a year later?
This community is stronger than what many people thought. Their voices were and are very, very loud and being paid attention to across this country. And I think another thing, although Buffalo is highly segregated still to this day, is that we learned how much better we are together.
All three of us are rooted in our unapologetic love for our people.
That's a fact.
You know, and that, you know, all of us, while we are champion diversity and people from all ethnicities and backgrounds coming together as one, but we do so with an unapologetic love for Black people.
And I don't want to say it in the wrong way, but it shouldn't have taken.
Just say it the way you say it.
I've learned, you know, to see hypocrisy at a higher level than I've ever saw it in my life. You know, it shouldn't take 10, you know, Black people to get killed.
We're going to go from that hypocritical, that H, to that hope, the hurt.
The hurt, the hate, the anger.
But we do need hope. Oh my God.
Well, I believe we have hope, and hope is what we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
Hope is, you know, you taking, you know, the initiative, Claudine, to actually, you know, talk about it, right?
What needs to happen to make sure that hope doesn't turn into frustration and people don't get impatient? Because you drive down Jefferson Avenue and a lot of people might look around and say, nothing's changed.
A lot of times people ask, hey, you know, how can we turn it around? How can we change it? What is needed over there? And then when we're honest about what's really needed, then they make you beg.
That tragic event made us realize as Black people the importance of caring for one another.
As pastors, do you still have sleepless nights over this?
I think that I haven't taken care of me yet.
For me, it's not so many, you know, sleepless nights. It's a lot of days of unsurety. You know, where do we go next, you know?
I have disappointment, and I think I'm just going to express that. Because when we talked about the races and everybody coming together, the ecumenical services I've had with so many people who didn't say anything. And I'm talking about other pastors who pastor people that look like me. And not one phone call, not one show up at anything, like they had to protect their whiteness.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say it. I have to say it,
Bishop,
because it's the one thing that bothered me so much. There were so many people who came, but I want to assure you there were so many people who didn't come and who didn't acknowledge a white supremacist in their pulpits ever. So my sleepless nights are really because I didn't know so many people around me and in neighboring communities just didn't give a damn.
Yeah. We can't have healing unless we have those conversations.
Real conversations.
And I'm tired of folks projecting on us what we need in order to heal.
We're going to close the show with the sounds of the Pappy Martin Jazz Collective.
Yeah, the show was put together to remember the Buffalo 10.
We'll see you next month
on commUNITY.